This is the Ford Ranger Raptor. Yes, it's the smaller brother to the big F-150 Raptor. On today's video, we are going to highlight 5 differences between this Raptor and the regular Ford Ranger. Number 1, style and size, and it has a lot of it. Look at this thing, it's wide. It's 3.5 inches wider than the regular Ranger. You have 1.5 inches more clearance. You have double the amount of dash plates, a Raptor specific front grille, big openings to get cooling in there. As well, you get 17-inch beadlock capable wheels with 33-inch all-terrain tires. You also get the Raptor specific metal running boards. This thing just looks so tough, it looks so tall. Now the Ranger Raptor has the same 5-foot bed as the regular Ranger and that gas-assisted tailgate. One thing to note though is that this has no type of step in the bumper, or I wish it would have that same tailgate step as the F-150, but some Rangers you can get an actual step in the bumper here. On the Raptor you can't, and that's a little unfortunate because this is a tall vehicle and it can be hard to get yourself in and out of this vehicle. Number 2 is towing. The Ranger Raptor is very capable, but there are certain things that it's not as capable as the regular Ranger, and that is for payload and towing. So the regular Ranger tows 7,500 pounds. This one is down a couple thousand, so only 5,500 pounds. Also payload is 1,710 pounds for the Ranger. This Raptor is 1,410, which is 300 pounds less than the regular Ranger. Number 3, it's the interior. You get all the goodness of the regular Ranger. This thing is fully loaded, all the utility of the back and the storage. You do get the full digital cluster, the large center screen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We also have lots of cameras on here, 360 cameras, off-road cameras. So that's also very, very welcome. But for Raptor specific stuff, you get all these orange accents you see on the air vents, the orange stitching, the Raptor on the steering wheel, the centering mark on the steering wheel, the Raptor specific seats. They are heated, they're powered, but they are not ventilated. Lots of cool stuff. Also Bang & Olufsen stereo. Up top here, we have 6 auxiliary switches here. So if you want to hook up different lights outside or a winch or whatever you want, you can control it all from up here as well. Number 4, it's the off-road capability of the Raptor, because along with the 33-inch tires and double the dash plates, this does have a full-time 4-wheel drive system. Get 7 different drive modes, all the way from slippery to rock crawling, Baja as well. You have locking front and rear diffs, and Fox racing shocks with live valve technology. Now, I'm gonna show you a video that will explain it way better than I could ever explain it to you.
Ford Performance teamed up with Fox to level up the all-new Ranger Raptor with live valve technology. The uniquely tuned Fox 2.5-inch diameter internal bypass semi-active shocks change damping performance based on the Ranger Raptor's drive modes. The 4 Fox live valve shocks are controlled individually by an ECU. Various sensors monitor terrain conditions for each wheel hundreds of times a second and rapidly adjust the suspension. The Ranger-specific algorithm adapts to your driving style through inertial, steering, braking, and acceleration input. Fox's patented internal bypass design allows for multiple zones of damping control. Shock fluid bypasses the main piston through a series of bleed holes in the ride zone to increase comfort. As the shock compresses past the ride zone, the bleed holes terminate, forcing fluid through the main piston. The damping force increases progressively to control hard bottom outs. When the shock rebounds past the ride zone, the bleed holes again terminate. The increased damping force prevents harsh top outs and an initial catch for landing. Fox's internal bypass damping combined with live valve technology deliver race-level performance.
So what'd you think? Yeah, it's basically rocket science. It's like over my head. All right, number 5, and probably the most notable difference, is the power plant. Because instead of the 2.3 liter EcoBoost on the base Ranger, this uses a 3 liter EcoBoost, and this thing puts out quite a bit of power, 130 horsepower more. So you have 405 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. So more horsepower, more torque. Both Rangers go through a 10-speed automatic transmission. We did mention this does have a full-time 4-wheel drive system though. Now, the engine is quite peaky. It's a real high performer on this, and to get most of it, you want to get those revs way up there. If you want, you do have some paddle shifters if you want to shift your own gears. That's also nice. We mentioned this has a ton of other drive modes on here. So there is one caveat though, actually a couple. First of all, the base Ranger uses 87 octane. This Raptor requires 91 octane. So that's gonna be a little bit of a hit on your pocketbook, but not as much of the hit as what the fuel economy is, because we've been driving it probably 50% of the time on the highway, but also doing a lot of short trips, and that really affects your fuel economy. Short trips, you know, just to the grocery store, running errands, and we are averaging, you know, I've seen it as high as 18 liters per 100K, on average about mid 15 to 16 liters per 100K. That's about the same mileage that we are getting with the F-150 Raptor, which is quite a bit larger vehicle. So yeah, this thing is thirsty, but you know the rule is that make more horsepower, use more fuel. You can't get away from that. So you're just gonna have to suck it up. But yeah, this thing's fun. It really is fun. And the on-road ride on here, the suspension is so compliant. It's like you're just kind of floating around, yet if you really push it, say you hit some big speed bumps or something like this, it just automatically stiffens up and adjusts to what the conditions are. But normally, yeah, like even if I hit the throttle, you can almost feel the vehicle just kind of floating a little bit. It's a nice ride. Just like the big Raptor, this one actually has the dedicated buttons on the steering wheel. We have steering, suspension, as well as exhaust, so we can adjust the exhaust from quiet all the way up to Baja, which is for off-road use only. But you can hear that. It's definitely louder on the outside. We'll just put that back right now. And then we have our dedicated R button, our Raptor button, and that's basically to bring up your favorite, you know, parameters that you want, and you can just customize however you want. So yeah, overall, really nice ride. Okay, let's talk Raptor family. F-150 Raptor starts at 109,000 Canadian dollars. Raptor Bronco, 116,000. Raptor R, whopping $161,000. This Ranger Raptor almost seems like a bargain compared to those. This goes for 55,000 USD or 80,000 Canadian. And you know what? Just because it's small, they didn't really compromise on anything other than space. But its size can actually be a benefit depending on where you're driving it. So whether you're rock crawling or going top speed down the Baja, this thing is not going to disappoint. I was actually invited to go to the launch of this Raptor. Unfortunately, I had prior commitments, but from the feedback I got from the people that did attend that I know, they definitely said this thing is just such a hoot and it's so extremely capable. They were actually jumping this truck. Like, yeah, I'm so bummed that I missed out on that.